How do you know when someone's going to punch you? How do you see punches? How do you read attacks? Well, it's actually quite interesting because it comes down to body language. Simple cues or body language cues. So let's just go through some ideas. If, for example, the guy's in my face is fairly close, you're going to say, well, there's a limitation of what you can see with the lower part of the body. Do you agree? Well, most of the time people will think that. But actually, if you want to kick or knee me, okay, you actually still have to use your upper body. Your upper body still has to move. That's an important thing. So the whole body, and this is how I'm going to start the video, the whole body moves in unison. It moves together. There's no way he can stand like this and suddenly use his leg without leaning back or without leaning forward. Something's got to happen. So something's got to happen to give me a cue. So let's start with the basics. The basics are, how do you read a punch? Well, the best way to read a punch primarily is from the shoulder movement. That's it. Look at the shoulders, watch the shoulders. Forget about the eyes, and I've said this in other videos. If you look at someone in the eyes, you're just going to have to buy them flowers, chocolates, get a hotel room, right? Right? We're not getting intimate here, okay? So don't look in their eyes. You can look in their eyes psychologically from a perspective of actually just trying to freak someone out or psych them out or what have you, but it doesn't give you an indicator of where the person's going to strike. Eyes lie. Someone can look down there, bang, and punch you. They can look away, bang, and punch you. In fact, if I was standing there, a good indicator that the guy is a bit twitchy and wants to fight is if he does start looking around. Because if he's looking around, quite often there's either two reasons. One, he's looking for witnesses to see who's actually around, because he's going to lamp you one, right? The other one is primarily because he's what I say, disarming you. He's looking away, boom, and he comes back with a punch. Quite a common tactic. A lot of people with experience tend to do that as well. So, first point, very easy. When you're facing someone, obviously you've got your hands up. We've taken all of those points for granted. You've got a leg forward. We're taking that for granted. For me to read basic attacks, what I want to do when I'm looking at this guy is I want to scan the shoulders, okay? Every time you want to move your arms, you have to move your shoulders. If he throws a punch and I'm looking at the fist, it's too late. So if I'm trying to look at the fist to tell whether he's doing a right punch, bang, it's too late. He's going to punch me straight in the face. What's going to tell me whether he's doing a right punch is whether the shoulder moves or whether he pulls his hand back. That's the first thing. Dealing with anything else becomes easier, because if he wants to knee me, try to knee me, he still has to, see? He still has to move his shoulder. So you try to knee again, his shoulder still has to move. So for me, it's common sense. If I don't see the punch coming in, but I see the shoulder moving, then I've got to assume or make that assumption, and you never assume. I was always brought up to never assume, by the way, because it makes an arse out of you and me, right? That's the point. Okay, I'm going to predict, or I'm going to make that assessment that it's likely, and it's a risk assessment as well, likely to be a low strike, okay? So it's definitely that side of your body, and vice versa. So if you're going to strike on this side, it'd be the same. At a distance, if he was kicking, okay, even if he was spinning to kick, he would have to rotate his shoulders. And let's face it, who spins to kick in a street fight? No. Right? Unless you've been watching too many Kung Fu films. It's not going to happen. So how do you read punches? Very simple. Scan the shoulders. Obviously be mindful where the hands are. So if the guy has got his hands, so the general discussion is how do you read attacks, not punches. Also, be aware where the hands are. If, for example, the guy's hiding his hands, then obviously there's a problem there. Be scared, right? Be alert, be vigilant, deal with that issue. You do need to make distance immediately or jam those arms. But I would automatically go to making distance, because if I can't see the hands, there's a good chance it's a weapon. So know where the hands are, first port of call. So your hands are up. If the hands are up, then it makes it a lot easier. Now, the flip side of this, if I wanted to strike, what do I want to limit?
Movement of your shoulders.
Movement of my shoulders. So what I want to do is punch, strike, but keep my shoulders relatively still, okay, when I move. So you don't get that indicator. So when my hands move, they hit from where they are. So again, a lot of people talk about this when you're striking. What you try to do is minimize the shoulder movement, but maximize the punch. So when you punch, you're moving from the elbow to the fist. Even if you're punching with a horizontal fist or a vertical fist, what you're doing is you're keeping this still and you're striking and activating the motion of the movement here from the elbow. You still engage the hip, you can still rotate and get power, bang, but the actual movement starts with the elbow. So the point is, if you're going to read attacks, the best thing to do is to focus on the shoulders, be aware, read the shoulders, try to monitor that. Forget about the emotions, forget about looking into the person's eyes. That's very romantic, but not necessary, especially in this context. But what I want to do is just keep control, know where his hands are. Don't worry so much about the legs. Again, this idea the guy's going to knee if you're too close is ridiculous, because I'll see it and I'll feel it, especially from his shoulders and his movement and contact. Thanks for watching.